CELPIP reading part 1, passage on the left and questions on the right. This is how it looks in the exam. And your job here is to find the answers quickly and accurately. So that's what we'll discuss today in detail with the question types, because you will notice the strategy changes sometimes from question to question. And we'll discuss that in parts 1 and 2 in detail. And in the very next video, 2 days from now, just the video after this, we're going to discuss parts 3 and 4. So subscribe already if you haven't already, because this series is the most important series for CELPIP reading. Now guys, once we have this, you see the first few questions could be 5 or 6 questions. They're simple multiple choice questions, pick an answer, and it's based on the passage here. Then you get something like this, which is a response to the initial message. So you can think of it as someone who read this and is responding now based on what they read. Most of your time is spent in the first few questions because this is the first time where you're reading the passage. So let's talk about that. How do we manage that? Let's look at the question types themselves. The first question is, what is the primary objective of Elara Investments Limited in reaching out to Orion Financial Group? So this is a letter or email between two companies, and if we quickly skim through, we can see it's about a partnership, and then they're talking about productivity, the economic climate, and the proposal. So just skimming through, we understand that it's a director writing to the other person talking about market expansion. Now for me to understand the answer for this one, I gotta read the whole thing. So I will leave this question right now and I will do the rest. At the end, when I have read everything, I would know exactly what the primary objective is. These kinds of long questions, leave them towards the end. Let's go to question number 2. Which market does the letter suggest both companies enter together? Here is where our work starts, because now we have to skim through and find out which market they're talking about. Both companies should enter together. Notice those keywords. Notice that concept. We're talking about which market should we enter, which market should we expand into, or maybe they're going to use paraphrased or keywords like we should get into this new developing market or expand into it. And now I'm going to go through this passage and find out where those words are mentioned. The first few lines, they're talking about the company itself. It's innovative and our ambition is to expand. Okay, so when I see my things that are mentioned in the question that I'm trying to target, I will slow down. Is to expand and diversify our portfolio has led us to explore collaborative opportunities. So okay, this has led them to this. They haven't really talked about which market they need to get into. So we'll keep reading. In this climate marked by volatility in traditional markets and growth in digital investments, just skimming through, I want to understand which market they need to enter in, and that's how I'm gonna be searching for my answers. Our analysis indicates that this, with its robust infrastructure, would be perfect for us, so it's a good match, fine. Still, I don't see the market, so I'm going to keep reading. This is how it is. You are searching for your answer, and you're laser focused on that. But at the same time, you're also understanding what's happening, what they are talking about. If I need to go back to a paragraph that asks why we're merging with this company or talking to them, I know where to find the answer. Now again, understanding the urgency and ever-evolving landscape, random words, this partnership aims to venture collaboratively into unexplored territories such as this is the market. This is where they want to enter. And now that I've read this, I would understand this, then I open this up and find the answer. Good. Next, what aspect of Orion Financial Group is particularly appealing? Now, wait a second. We saw something about this earlier. They were saying our analysis indicates that Orion Financial Group, with its structure and track record, this was something that these guys praised. So maybe here is where I'm gonna find the answer for this one. And again, I'm looking at my keywords. What aspect of this group is particularly appealing to Elara Investment? Which would mean this would be something that they would say, hey, this is appealing to us, or we like this about your company, or the reason we want to partner with you is because you have this, and I found this here. This is out of sequence. Completely normal. This happens all the time. But let me see if there's something more. So they're proposing the partnership. They want to venture into this. The synergy between our firms could set a precedent, so the synergy could be a good thing that they may be looking at. And in the next paragraph, I see something like leveraging Orient's expertise in technological infrastructure. This is also something that they might find particularly appealing. So I found this answer in 3 different paragraphs, and that is normal too. If I keep looking, then they're now talking about the future growth and other stuff. So I'm limited to these 3 paragraphs, but I know where to look because I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something that they are gonna find appealing, are gonna appreciate, and so on. Similarly with question number 4, here I'm gonna use something different. So this is where it gets interesting. See, it says here, how much projected growth in market share does Elara foresee from this partnership? When I see things like how much, I'm thinking, well, it could be a number. Most likely it has to be a number. Is it a number? Let me confirm. It is a number. Okay. And it's a percentage. Where do I see a percentage? Right there. So 25%. Now I'm going to read this and confirm just to make sure I'm not being fooled here. It looks too easy, but at least I know where to look at and how, and quickly. Now, why I opened this up here is because this was gonna be easy once I figured out that it's a number. It's not saying words like drastic growth, medium growth, reasonable growth, then I would have to search it. But if it's a number, I can find this, and why I opened it here is because I am very sure, 60 to 70% sure, it's gonna be a number. And I just wanted to confirm it, but if it were not a number and it's words, I would not open it, because words can confuse you. I would read the passage, find the projected growth mentioned, and then open this up. That's what I've been doing throughout. Only this was an exception because I wanted to confirm the format of the answer here. Now, number 5, what key factor does the proposal emphasize for the partnership's success? Now we're talking about the success, which would be related to growth. Like if we have growth, then this would be our success measure. I'm also thinking like they would say, this is the metric we would look at. Maybe it's sales, maybe it's revenue. That will determine if we're successful or not. And they are talking about the success with 25% growth, saying that this estimate is contingent upon the seamless integration of our operations and the agility in decision-making processes. So what is the answer based on that? Have a look, comment down below, let me know what is the answer for question number 5. Only geniuses will be able to answer this. But what I've shown you here is the place that you look at is based on the question. Always look at the concept in the question and find that in the passage. Of course, it could be up there too, but we're more looking here at the reason for success, which is to be mentioned in this paragraph. Finally, question number 6, how does the letter suggest the partnership would benefit the economic narrative? Well, isn't that the whole email? That's the whole idea. Like if we do this, this will happen, this will be our growth. So once again, question number 6 is something I will answer at the end. 6 and 1 I would leave for the end. 2 to 5 I would answer first, and this will help me organize everything really well and get all the answers when they need to be answered. I'm not going to be thrown off by 1 and read everything, then go to 2 and read everything again. So this is how you want to find information quickly, and you can see how much it varies from question to question. Now, once we go to this part, which is responding to this comment, your friends are going to be 2 things. Number 1, it's the words before the gap, and number 2 is the tone. So I'll tell you what that means. Let's start here. In the intricate web of modern economics, the role of strategic partnerships cannot be overemphasized. So it's a random general sentence, doesn't help me much. It's just saying that strategic partnerships are great. Cool. As elucidated in the recent correspondence from Elara Investments to Orient Financial Group, which is referencing this letter or email, such alliances are not mere formalities, but pivotal avenues for achieving. Now, what does my tone tell me? My tone tells me that it's something positive because you're achieving success, achieving financial gain, achieving market share. So growth would be good. It's not individual gain because it's a partnership, and competitive displacement maybe, but we're not really talking about competition here. That's where your knowledge of the initial passage will help. And monopoly control could also be it, but we're not talking about monopoly here. So if it's not talking about that in the initial email, it's not going to be mentioned later on. Mutual growth looks like the most logical answer. In terms of my tone, we're talking about achieving something, and also it is something with the keyword achieve. It has to be positive. The other keywords were also that this kind of alliance, which means partnership, which would mean mutual growth. Similarly, we go to the next one. The proposed outline by Alara underscores, which means emphasizes the potential for. Once again, it is going to be something positive. And once I open this, I want to know the potential for, which is me looking for something in the future. Nothing present, it is the potential. That's my keyword. I'm going to open this up and get the answer. So remember, for these questions, your friends are the keywords before the blank and the tone of the sentences and the entire idea from this person, whoever is writing this email. Now, let's go to part 2. Here you will get a picture. Picture types could be very different from time to time. A lot of the times, though, it is simple pictures with a little bit of description of the picture. So here you see 3 columns: smart building technologies, which have these features, sustainable material usage, and then urban transportation efficiency. Based on this picture, there is this passage that's being written. And after this passage and the embedded questions therein, you have a few more questions. So let's tackle this. What's going to happen right now is something very interesting. You will not be able to get the answer of question 1. I'll show you how. So it starts here. The rapid evolution of construction and infrastructure development has ushered in a new era defined by intelligent systems and sustainable practices. Okay, this is again a general sentence. There is no question here in this part embedded, so I'm not focused on it too much, but I want to understand what parts are we talking about here. So we're talking about intelligent systems, which looks like smart building technologies, and sustainable practices, which looks like this one, the middle column. So we're not yet talking about urban transportation efficiency is what I'm understanding. Okay, at the core of this transformation is something, a concept deeply ingrained within what? I don't know really. It could be any of these. The hints right now are not enough. Okay, so there's a transformation. That's what I know. It's a concept ingrained within modern architectural paradigms. So it's ingrained within modern stuff, which would mean smart building technologies. But hey, modern stuff could also be sustainable stuff. So I really don't know what's going to go here. I have no choice but to leave it here and do the other parts. Maybe I'll get an idea later. Let's keep going. This innovation not only something, but also enhances the living experience by incorporating, okay, there's my idea, by incorporating technologies that respond dynamically to environmental changes. Okay, so we're talking about technologies. That is column number 1. If we're incorporating technologies and we're talking about this concept, that would mean that the first question is smart building technologies. Right there. That is the answer, but just so I can confirm, intelligent structural systems, was that mentioned? No. Automated construction solutions in the same column here? No. Cyber physical frameworks, check this out, not mentioned. Okay, I'm going to keep that answer. And now I'm going to go to question 2 and so on. So this is how sometimes you might have to go do another question before doing the initial one, and that is completely normal. I also want to show you the change of tone here. So the first 2 questions would be related to smart building technologies. Then see how question number 3 starts with meanwhile. That connector itself shows you that we're moving on to another topic. So it says, meanwhile, the importance of something cannot be understated as it represents a fundamental shift towards responsible consumption and resource efficiency. And then it even says the word sustainability. So all those words highlight that we're talking about sustainable material usage, which is both responsible and efficient, usually using resources efficiently. So now I would know 3 is based on everything from column number 2. And naturally, whatever is left would be the last few things, and that would be the urban transportation efficiency. And that is so obvious that the examiners even mention words like transit, so you know that we're talking about the third column. I have personally never seen any CELPIP reading where an entire column or row was not mentioned in the first 5 questions. So that's how you can understand the sequence, and you can put your eyes where they need to be. Now, when we do questions 6 to 8, these answers could come from the content in the picture, or they could come from the content here, because now you would have completed this passage, so the answers could come from here too. Have a look at the first question. Which technique in construction utilizes automated systems to improve energy efficiency? Automated systems, again, that's the keyword, right? So that has to be smart building technologies. I just have to look at this column, but I just want to ensure that it's not the other two. Maybe there's something automated about them, and you see that. Make sure if it's nothing about automation, then great. I'm going to be back here at Smart Building Technologies. Have a look at the options. You have digital transformation and smart building technologies itself, the idea, the heading. So that B looks correct. Cybernetic infrastructure, robotic integration were not mentioned in this column, and digital transformation may be correct, and that's where you have to decide. This is using a lot of technology, but it's not anywhere showing me words like transformation digitally, or we're moving from analog to digital. So something to support that term specifically is not mentioned, hence I'm going to go with B. Question number 7, what is the aim of using sustainable materials in construction? Once again, the same problem happens here. I know easily that this is column number 2, but when I open this up, there's going to be the same confusion, 2 close answers. So let's have a look at how we can again deal with something like that. I know we're talking about sustainable materials. Obviously, we're talking about column number 2. Let me understand the keywords. What is the aim of using this in construction? So my keyword is construction, and we can see that even in terms of materials, we're seeing this part, that it reduces carbon footprint through eco-friendly materials. It's recycled building products, minimizes waste by using sustainable resources, like everything could be the answer, promotes durability with low maintenance materials. Wait for it, guys. The answer is going to be complex, okay? Supports local economies by sourcing locally. This one does not matter. Everything else was talking about using construction materials. Let's open this up. I'll tell you right now, the 2 possible answers that people usually put are lower labor costs, because it was saying that it would have low maintenance materials, and minimizes waste, so low labor costs. Reduces carbon emissions, because it was mentioning reduces carbon footprint, so that is also a close answer. And then the other 2 were not really mentioned. Which is the correct answer? This is a question you will ask yourself repeatedly in the CELPIP exam, and that's where you need to talk to yourself and ask yourself, where is the specifics or the specific mentioned based on each option? Low labor cost specifically means we're not paying laborers more, or the construction costs are dropping, or we save money easily on labor costs. So far we know that we're minimizing waste, but that's not labor. We are using low maintenance material, that is also not labor. So that is not specific, but reduce carbon emissions is mentioned exactly here. If it's specific and you can find proof, that's where the answer is. So in parts 1 and 2, you will run into these kinds of errors or problems where you have confusing option choices, or where you have a hard time searching for the right answer, but be smart, use the strategies mentioned here, and really understand it question by question. So with each question, you understand the strategy and you're looking for the right thing. I hope this video helped you out. If it did, please drop a like, share, and subscribe, and tune in, because the next video for the hardest parts 3 and 4 is coming up in just 2 days. Talk to you soon.